All right, we got to talk about what we just saw play out over the last 4 days in the House of Representatives. Hey, everybody, Damon Roberts. Glad you're in for another video. And, of course, it's brought to you by our friend Mike Lindell and MyPillow. MyPillow.com/LFS6B. Use our code LFS6B at checkout for 10 to 60% off. All right, let's talk about what we saw, because you know what they say, though, the devil, as always, is in the details. So what are the details? That's a question that a lot of people are asking, because what we watched after 4 long days and 15 votes, well, Representative Kevin McCarthy is now the Speaker of the House, but not without having made significant concessions, hopefully limiting his ability to be too accommodating to uniparty and global interests. So what are the details? Well, let's take a look. Number 1, it'll only take a single congressperson acting in what is known as a Jeffersonian motion to remove the speaker if he goes back on his word or any of his policy agenda promises. Now, a Jeffersonian motion to remove the Speaker of the House is a procedural measure that allows members of the U.S. House of Representatives to bring a vote of no confidence against the Speaker of the House. It's named after Thomas Jefferson, who, as Vice President, presided over the House of Representatives and used this motion to challenge the Speaker. The Jeffersonian motion allows any member of the House to call for a vote to remove the Speaker from office. If the motion is seconded by at least one other member and supported by a majority of the House, the Speaker then is removed from office. The Speaker can also be removed from office through a vote of the full House or through a vote of the House Rules Committee. The Speaker can be removed from office for any reason, including misconduct, failure to perform his or her duties, or simply because the majority of the House no longer has confidence in his or her leadership. Number 2, a church-style committee will be convened to look into the weaponization of the FBI and other government organizations against the American people. Now, the Church Committee was a United States Senate Select Committee to study governmental operations with respect to intelligence activities, a U.S. Senate committee chaired by Senator Frank Church in 1975.
Well, Senator, let me follow up by asking, do you think that the CIA and military intelligence agencies and the FBI have used the emergency provisions, both in law and by emergency agency, the Federal Preparedness Agency it's called now, to have contingency plans which threaten the liberty of American citizens?
Mr. Rowan, in due course, the committee will pass judgment on those questions. I'm not going to pre-guess the committee or prematurely attempt to pass judgment on this program. But let me tell you this. In the need to develop a capacity to know what potential enemies are doing, the United States government has perfected a technological capability that enables us to monitor the messages that go through the air. These messages are between ships at sea, they could be between units, military units in the field. We have a very extensive capability of intercepting messages wherever they may be in the airwaves. Now, that is necessary and important to the United States as we look abroad at enemies or potential enemies. We must know. At the same time, that capability at any time could be turned around on the American people. And no American would have any privacy left. Such is the capability to monitor everything, telephone conversations, telegrams, it doesn't matter. There would be no place to hide. If this government ever became a tyranny, if a dictator ever took charge in this country, the technological capacity that the intelligence community has given the government could enable it to impose total tyranny. And there would be no way to fight back, because the most careful effort to combine together in resistance to the government, no matter how privately it was done, is within the reach of the government to know. Such is the capability of this technology. Now, why is this investigation important? I'll tell you why. Because I don't want to see this country ever go across the bridge. I know the capacity that is there to make tyranny total in America. And we must see to it that this agency and all agencies that possess this technology operate within the law and under proper supervision so that we never cross over that abyss. That's the abyss from which there is no return.
That committee was formed in the aftermath of the Watergate scandal and revelations of other intelligence abuses, including illegal surveillance of U.S. citizens by the CIA and the FBI. The Church Committee held a series of hearings to investigate these and other abuses and ultimately published a series of reports that detailed the findings of its investigation. The committee's work led to a number of reforms aimed at increasing oversight of the intelligence community and protecting the privacy of you, the U.S. citizens. Number 3, term limits will be put up for a vote. Now, it's worth remembering that term limits for members of the U.S. House of Representatives can only be established through a couple of ways. Number 1, a constitutional amendment. Now, to propose a constitutional amendment, 2/3 of both the House of Representatives and the Senate must vote in favor of the amendment. The proposed amendment then must be ratified by 3/4 of the state. Now, alternatively, term limits for members of the House of Representatives can be established through legislation such as a bill. However, any legislation setting term limits would need to be signed into law by the president and would not have the same force as a constitutional amendment. Number 4, bills presented to Congress will be single subject, not omnibus with all the attendant earmarks, and there will be a 72-hour minimum period to read them. And this, of course, brings to mind what we just saw play out in the Senate and the House with Mitch McConnell helping Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats usher through a $1.8 trillion omnibus bill in the dead of night, 4,000 plus pages that people got on Monday and were asked to vote for it on Wednesday. That's the way the House has been run. That's the way our government has worked for way too long. Now, this concession from Kevin McCarthy will hopefully look to put an end to that. Number 5, the Texas border plan will be put before Congress. The Texas border plan is a 4-pronged plan which aims to complete a physical border infrastructure, fix border enforcement policies, enforce our laws in the interior, and target cartels and criminal operations. And if you've looked at the news recently, former President Trump just came out with a plan on how he intends to deal with the cartels as well. Number 6, COVID mandates will be ended, as will all funding for them, including so-called emergency funding. Number 7, budget bills would stop the endless increases in the debt ceiling and hold the Senate accountable for the same. And if you've watched me over all my years of doing live from Studio 6B and being here on social media, you know the one thing I've complained about, maybe more than anything else, is how Mitch McConnell has consistently gotten run over when it comes to the power of the purse. When it comes to the debt ceiling, when it comes to the government shutdown, his ability to stand in front of a microphone and explain what's really happened is absolutely not been happening. He's never been able to do it, which is why Republicans have always lost the debt ceiling government shutdown debate. And hopefully this will put an end to that. Now, what's missing so far from these concessions? There's no serious discussions about COVID tyranny. There's no serious discussions about vaccine injury. There's no serious discussions about January 6th defendants and what do we do about them, and a possible continuation of the January 6th style committee, but this time with an actual committee that wants to get to the bottom of what really happened, and maybe with subpoenas for Nancy Pelosi and for Mitch McConnell. What did they know? And when did they know it? And if you haven't watched my video that I did on January 6th and some of the new information that's out from the former chief of police for the Capitol Police, I suggest you watch and share that with everybody you can here on the 2nd anniversary of January 6th. So there you have it, folks. That's what we know so far. Does this make us a stronger Republican Party that's taking over for 2 years in the House? Does this make Kevin McCarthy weaker as Speaker? Does it make him stronger? Does it make the entire party stronger? Will it put an end to some of the things that have driven so many of us crazy for so long? Omnibus bills, debt ceiling, the spending, $32 trillion in national fiscal operating debt. We'll have to wait and see. But this is where we are, and we've got 2 years to get ready for 2024 and hopefully a Republican president to go along with a House and a Senate. All right, that's going to do it for this one, folks. Again, I want to remind you to visit our sponsor, Mike Lindell, MyPillow, mypillow.com/LFS6B, and use our code LFS6B at checkout for 10 to 60% off most items. All right, that's going to do it, folks. Thanks for joining me in this one, and I'll see you in the next one.